In this video, I will be discussing the Xiongnu, also known as the Huns of classical antiquity. This is my first documentary-style video, so I apologize for how dry it may be. I promise I will get better. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Xiongnu, as it's pronounced in Mandarin, was the dynasty of the steppe empire known to Western sources as the Huns. In the Hunnic language, it would have been pronounced as Xuŋa. Christopher Atwood first noticed the dynastonym's connection to the name of the modern Ongi River in Mongolia. Tentatively, he reconstructed Xiongnu as Xuŋa. While I agree with the derivation from the hydronym, I suggest the pronunciation of Xuŋa. The second syllable, likely deriving from the Hunnic suffix ga, would not have yielded a final y. And while I reconstruct the vowel u in the first syllable, it may be that it was an o, as Atwood suggests. Nonetheless, a connection to the hydronym seems all but certain when we examine Han records, where the river was frequently referred to as the Xiongnu River. Moving forward, I will call the Xiongnu by their reconstructed name, Xuŋa. Sima Qian is the first to mention the Xuŋa in his monumental work, the Taisarkungsu, or Grand Scribe's Records, also known as the Shiqi, or Records of the Scribe. There, he claims that the Xuŋa progenitor, Sunwei, hailed from the line of the Xia dynasty. This is, of course, a dubious claim likely made with the intention of placing the Xuŋa within the purview of the Central States. The sinicization of foreign groups, within territories deemed to be Chinese, is an enduring practice within Chinese regimes today. Before we can speak of the Xuŋa, we should briefly go over the tribal entities that may have contributed to their ethnogenesis. Sima Qian implies three: the Xiongnu, the Xianun, and the Mountain Zone. The first of these, the Xiongnu, were the ancient enemies of the Yin dynasty. It is said that Sunwei either joined or founded them. The second group, the Xianun, was a tribal confederacy that fought against the Zhou dynasty. It is recorded that they fought on horse-drawn chariots. Finally, the last entity, the Mountain Zone, were a heterogeneous grouping of Turkic and Mongolic-speaking tribes. They likely included groups such as the Turkic-speaking Payang and Mongolic-speaking Sarbi. They too were enemies of the Zhou dynasty. Unfortunately, the records do not elaborate much more on these entities. So, we shall continue with the first recorded incident involving the Xuŋa. This occurred in 318 BCE when the Xuŋa, referred to as the Hu, joined the states of Han, Cao, Wei, Yan, and Qi in a failed assault on the Qin. It is also theorized that these Hu were the same entity that attacked the Mongolic state of Tai. The Hu are next mentioned during the reign of King Cao of Qin, following the defeat of the Icha tribes. The Cao king, tired of military defeat and intent on conquering the north, decides to refashion his military in the style of the Hu. As a result, his entire kingdom adopts Hu attire, learning to shoot arrows on horseback. The policies pay off, and in 306 BCE, the king makes an incursion into Tsungsan and Hu territory. He marches as far as Ningxia, then heads west, as far as Hu-controlled Utsung. A Hu leader surrenders, gifting the Cao king horses. The Cao army returns, having enlisted several Hu tribes into their army. The use of steppe forces in the Cao army marked the beginning of a practice that would remain in use by succeeding dynasties. As Tsungsan weakened, the Hu tribe, known as the Lofan, surrendered to the Cao king. It was the year 296 BCE. The next mention of the Xuŋa occurs around 243 BCE, when the new king of Cao installs Li Mu as the general of his army. The Xuŋa lead an army comprised of Hu and Sarbi tribes against the general, who resorts to an unorthodox tactic to defeat the steppe forces. It is said that he split his cavalry forces into two left and right divisions, forcing the Xuŋa to fight on multiple fronts. Thus, he defeated 100,000 Xuŋa warriors. Although the Sarbi suffered heavy casualties as well, this may have motivated them to seek their independence from the Xuŋa. In any case, the remaining Xuŋa leadership fled further north. At some point later, or earlier, if we go by the scribe's records chronology, the Yan general Chen Kai was sent as a hostage to the Hu. After some time, he had apparently earned their trust enough to return home. Having taken the time to familiarize himself with the north, he returned to Yan and led a successful campaign against the Sarbi. The Yan took this opportunity to build a long wall from Saoyang to Xiongping, thus establishing the Songku, Ouyang, Yopeping, Liaoshi, and Liaotung commanderies in order to repel the Hu. At this time, of the 7 warring states, 3 shared a border with the Xuŋa. In the late 3rd century BCE, after the Qin destroyed the remaining warring states, Sir Huangdi sent General Mingtian to lead 100,000 soldiers north. He was ordered to attack the Hu and take the territory of Henan. Taking advantage of the He River's strategic importance, he constructed 44 county walls that overlooked the river. He then garrisoned criminals in order to fill the land. Afterward, he connected a straight road from Qiuwen to Unyang. By staying close to the mountainsides, creating natural barriers from rivers and valleys, and repairing what could be repaired, he was able to start from Lintao and extend over 10,000 li to Liaotung. He also crossed the Yellow River, occupying Yang Mountain and central Peiqiao. The Xuŋa could not resist his advances and were forced further north. All the while, the Sarbi and an ironic people, known as the Agnya, or Wutzer in Mandarin, had become rivals to the Xuŋa. At this time, the leader of the Xuŋa was named Tuman. Tuman could not overcome the Qin, so he moved the Xuŋa north, but when Mingtian died, many nobles turned against the Qin. The central states were in disorder. As a result, all those who the Qin had left, as garrison troops at the border, left. Only then were the Xuŋa able to regain portions of their land. They slowly crossed the Yellow River, heading south and occupying their old territories. It was in this tumultuous era that the legendary Bagatur Dargah, known in Mandarin as Modun Chanyu, would rise to power and establish history's first steppe empire.